Heyo everybody, Haku here with my next read-through for Magical Girl Raising Project, or Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku episodes, and this one's going to be The Maid and the Mystery. So we're going to get to read about Nokko-chan and, oh my god, my brain, Detick Bell. Nokko-chan and Detick Bell, why'd my brain freak out like that? Yeah, excited to read about them, because I don't know what anything's going to be. This obviously hasn't been in the anime yet. That, and I like both of the characters. So, I guess, let's see where we go. And once I have read this one, I'll be caught up, and the last two will just need to be revised, and once those two are revised, I'll read those last two. Then we're done with episodes. I can make the character video, I can make the first reaction video, and then I can start reading Limited. So yeah, excited to be moving into Limited. I feel like we'll be there late December, early January, so that means in 1 year, in addition to other videos on Magical Girl Raising Project, we've read through the first two volumes and episodes. So that's pretty good considering all the other stuff I cover on the channel. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into reading this one. Also, I have my throat's feeling kind of dry, so if my voice starts breaking up, I'll drink some water. I have a bunch of water. So yeah, just warning you ahead of time, because for some reason my throat feels kind of dry and I don't feel super confident about my voice holding up the whole time. So we've got The Maid and the Mystery. This story is set 1 year before Magical Girl Raising Project restart. Hang on, hopefully this doesn't mess with the video any. Let me check and make sure. I just had to move that light over a little. It was shining like, well, it's always shining kind of in my face. That's the point of the light, but it was really bothering my eyes where it was at the angle I had it. Okay, so now, sorry, I'll finally get to reading. The bus was filled with excitement. Everyone was fighting for the mic, singing anime and popular songs. School years and schools all mixed together. People who others just met a while ago laughing like they'd been friends for 10 years. The elementary school summer vacation outing time will really be exciting. Noriko Nonohara was one of the people enjoying it. It could be said, okay, it was just a typo. It could be said that because Noriko was enjoying it, everyone else enjoyed it too. Noriko Nonohara, as the magical girl Nokko-chan, was able to propagate her feelings to her surroundings, whether it was negative or positive. She could influence without exception. If Noriko was having fun, everyone would have fun. This time, it was different than when Nokko-chan was at home, at school, or even when she was working. Her mom and dad wished her well and said, "Have fun, okay?" Noriko planned to do just that. Usually, in Nokko-chan's transformed everyday life, she'd hold down her emotions, she'd manipulate them, and guide her classmates to a happier direction. In this trip, her emotions were released. She only had to do as little control as possible to make her appearance unnoticed. She was free to act. Ah, there it is. The boy sitting in front of her stood up and pointed his finger. They could see a light brown-colored building by the mountain roads. It was mostly square and flat. It was like a huge matchbox. That was their accommodations and destination. Shinobu Hyoka was a magical girl. She was also a professional detective. She wondered how many people these days thought that detectives meant people who investigate strange mystery cases. Were there a lot of people who thought that detectives handled looking for missing persons, behavior investigations, and dirty work like finding evidence for cheaters as their main job? Still, that was still a good thing. Shinobu Hyoka got a job from her director, though it wasn't really a job per se. So, there's a volunteer thing, right? That's right. Shinobu Hyoka's facial expressions had a nuance that said, "What are you saying, old man?" But her director simply drank his coffee as if nothing happened. "They wanted to send someone from my office. Someone on their end has been good to us, so I can't refuse them." Shinobu looked at her director with an unpleasant face. Her director looked back at Shinobu with an apologetic face. Shinobu dropped her gaze to her director's pantsuits and knees, while turning her expression to one of suspicion. Shinobu raised her face. "Why me? It's training. Everyone wants to be a coming-of-age detective. Even I do." Without making his tone presence, it seems he was talking as if Shinobu had no way of refusing. In reality, even if he stuttered, she wouldn't be able to refuse him. Shinobu had to participate in a children's camp as one of the staff members. Shinobu, could you help out with making the campfire? Okay, understood. Shinobu, could you align the clock's times together? Okay. Shinobu, roll call, please. We have everyone. Shinobu didn't know how her director described her, but even among the staff it felt like she was the number one underling. He probably said, "This is my new hire, she's training to be a detective, so work her hard," or something like that. He was that kind of boss. The summer vacation children's camp that called in everyone from all over the country had plenty of advertisements on a long scale. There were a lot of participants, and because of that, the staff was short of hand. Each person had plenty of work, especially those who were considered underlings. Shinobu sat on the cottage bench, blowing into her canned coffee. The fresh green hills were being swept up by the cool winds. There, the kids were laughing, frolicking. They only just met, but they were already like close friends. She saw a peaceful-looking view, but it was a difficult one to manage. The elementary school kids were running everywhere. You could tell them, "Don't do that, it's dangerous," but they'll just say, "I'm fine." Shinobu stood up, whistling with her hands. "Hey, no climbing trees." The kids were laughing and screaming as they ran. Shinobu's hardships were constant. Also, the kids were tough. They were scolded all throughout the day to the evening, making Shinobu tired, but the kids just kept shouting in loud voices waiting for the next event. Even if she said, "It's night, you should sleep," no one would listen. Up next, the scare trial. Shinobu, could you be in charge of preparing? Me? We're going to make an indoor course by darkening the lighting. Go ahead and follow the directions from the entrance to the dining room and hand over the clearance pass to them. And what am I in charge of? Shinobu, you're going to surprise kids who come into the dining room. I heard from your boss that's your specialty, right? Would Shinobu win if she sued her boss for saying things that weren't true? Damn, I have to do it. I just have to do it. Her anger turned to her director, her fist cutting the air since he wasn't there. If she did, these kids who bothered Shinobu during the day in their all-you-can-eat buffets would also be braver. These kids who bothered Shinobu during the day in their all-you-can-eat buffets would be braver. After the dinner, she had 30 minutes to prepare. Although she was tired and irritated, she didn't try to look at any of the kids with that irritated look. At the very least, she had to scare the children. That was Shinobu's mission, and the kids would want that too. She heard in the morning the kids saying, "The scare trial's not going to scare me, it's for babies." In the hallway leading to the dining room, the staff decorated it with self-made and paper-crafted ghosts and monsters. It really did look like it was made for babies. At the very least, you could have brought them to the mountains, but safety reasons made that impossible, so they had to do a cheap scare trail instead. Trail? Yeah, scare trail. I've been saying trial this whole time. I mean, they both kind of work. Either way, I guess I'll go to trail since that's what it actually is and I've just been misreading this whole time. But still, don't underestimate us adults, you brats. Being the only one in the cafeteria, Shinobu transformed into the magical girl Detick Bell. Detick Bell used her magical skill to converse with the walls. Detick Bell kissed the dining room's wall, then a large face appeared on that part of the wall. It looked old, since the lighting was dropped. It also looked a bit scary. What's wrong? There's some elementary schools that came here today. You're going to threaten them. Why? There's a scare trail happening now, so they're making fun of you. They said you're just for babies. I don't like being made fun of. Of course not, right? That's why you're going to threaten them. Don't hurt them, though. The head was told to disappear until the targets were in sight. While Detick Bell herself hid behind the curtains. While being excited, she waited for 5 minutes. Someone came in. Detick Bell could only see them from the back. It looked like a girl. Probably middle schoolers. When she wanted to find the clear paths in the dining room, the face appeared, and used its long tongue to lick the girl. Okay, that's weird. It worked, thought Shinobu as she fist-pumped for about 5 seconds. The girl ran away in fear, then for some reason Shinobu ran along in fear with the girl. They also screamed out together, a hellish sight like children screaming from the mountain spirits. The kids and even adults were running away while crying in tears. Whoever was there jumped into their cottage rooms. Whoever was there ducked under the tables. Whoever was there ran until they were tired. All of them made a fuss, and the only time the staff and the participants ensured they were safe was at 11 p.m. Why was there this much screaming? She didn't have time to think. Shinobu continued to chase after the kids. When all the kids were asleep, all the staff members gathered up in the hall. That was way too much, shouted the leader angrily as Shinobu shriveled up. Okay, since there's a scene break, let me grab a sip of water. Alright. Okay, let's see what we got now with this next scene. The girls in her room were all fast asleep. After an event like this, usually they don't sleep even when the lights are off, or it's late at night. They talk about things like love and stuff, but right now it's already late, and everyone was tired. That was mostly because of Noriko. Noriko pulled up her comforter up to her chin. She was completely careless. As a magical girl whose physical abilities completely exceeded that of a normal human's, she could see in the darkness. She could even cope if she were attacked. She couldn't be scared by this childish scare trial. That's what she thought. She was proud. She didn't know what exactly happened, but she became really scared. In peacetime, Noriko ruled over herself. She had the power to suppress her heartbeat, but all of that flew away in terror. Its tongue's movements, the feeling, it felt alive. She fled and ran away. Her own fear... Oh, that's why everyone panicked, no matter who it was, because Nokko-chan was the one that freaked out. She fled away. Her own fear propagated and caused a large panic, making a little bad accident. On the bright side, no one was hurt. But still, that tongue, that face, what kind of trap was that? At that time, she was just scared, but now that she's looked at it, she couldn't help but be curious. She thought with thin open eyes, looking at the ceiling wood grains. Noriko remembered the large human face in the dining room, which made her quickly close her eyes. Although there was a huge fuss, the kids were super happy the following morning that it was almost annoying. We're so super happy the following morning that it was almost annoying. It's as if the accident was what made them happy. The adults, comparatively, were not as happy as yesterday. Not to mention, their attitude to Shinobu was heartbreaking. If this was reported to her director, then it's guaranteed that he'd sarcastically say she couldn't even complete this job that wasn't a job. At the very least, she should be able to complete this job. She had to make the other evaluations rise even 1 millimeter. Shinobu, the meat check, please. Yes, understood. After today's orienteering, they plan to have a barbecue. Above the mountain, according to the season, the temperature should be high. The morning sun was strong. With all this roaming around cheerfully, Shinobu wiped her forehead sweat with the back of her palm. She took the plastic pack of meat from the large refrigerator. It felt cold, nice to the touch. Since there were lots of people, there was also a large amount of meat. She's never seen this much meat. That sentence. She's never seen this much meat in her life before. Whoa, awesome. Hey, is that today's food? Damn it. The kids who finished breakfast gathered up. Was it a child's habit to gather up when something was happening? Shinobu, why am I cracking up at this? Shinobu used to be a child, but she didn't remember anymore. The kids had only just finished breakfast, but they were already going, "This is delicious, I want to eat it," in a chorus. Hearing that, Shinobu's appetite began rising from the bottom of her belly. It really is delicious. She wanted to eat it. She wanted to grill this and eat this all up. No, even if it was just a bit, she'd be fine. If she took only a small bite, no one would notice, right? She thought as her hand pressed the meat before she finally got her senses back. If she stole it while the kids were eavesdropping, her evaluations would drop even worse. All right, the meat comes later, okay? Right now we gotta prepare for orienteering. Somehow... that sentence is still... Why? Somehow, she managed to get the kids away, which made her sigh in relief. If she did more than this, she'd probably get tired. Once more she lost track and thought how good it would be if she could eat the meat. Either way, she finished checking for now. Since it was impossible to leave raw meat at normal room temperature, she had to be careful to watch it as she put it on the table, as she tilted her head. The meat that was supposed to be there was now gone. It wasn't under the table, nor in the fridge. She even opened the drawers to find nothing. Impatiently, she tilted her head before instantly being shocked. She calmed her mind that was on the verge of panicking. She tried to search one more time and found nothing. The meat disappeared. Guaranteed that it was stolen by Nokko-chan, and that's why she was so hungry for the meat there, is because she took a bit of Nokko-chan's emotions in. That's lame. Can't we just touch it? This is hysterical. The staff pushed them all away. everyone was complaining to each other while scattering. While Noriko was one of the ones that was scattered, she didn't complain. It's natural for the staff to not let kids touch their foods. If she made that feeling stronger, they probably won't be able to sleep again tonight, and that'd be Nokko-chan's fault. What are we doing next? They said orienteering. What's orienteering? I don't know, but they said it's like a treasure hunt. Treasure hunt? There were still lots of things she can look forward to. It was there before, there's no mistaking it. She hasn't even cleaned up yet, which means it should still be there, yet it's gone. She didn't know why, however she knew it'd be trouble. This was a case, this was a detective's turn. Even though she knew it was trouble, her heart was beating. Shinobu, if you're done, come over here. Yes. After Shinobu confirmed that the window was locked, pulled all the curtains and tightened the entrances to the dining room, she grabbed a mop from the cleaning tools section and barred the door. Now, no one can see her. She transformed into Detick Bell and can kiss the wall. When she transformed into a magical girl, she became somewhat calm. Perhaps it was just a kid's prank. When Shinobu was shooing them away, a separate group of kids could have taken it. That scenario would come along nicely. However, it was a fact that she searched everywhere in the room and found no sign of meat. If they hid it in the dining room, they'd have a clever way of hiding it. If they took it outside the dining room, then first she had to confirm that fact. Then she'd have to follow up on those whereabouts. Or maybe it wasn't stolen by Nokko-chan, but another person affected by her emotions that really wanted it. Either way, she should try asking the dining room herself. When she thought of that, Shinobu tried to kiss the dining room wall, but there was no face. Huh? Her head, which had been cool before, began to boil again. She hadn't felt this before. Even if it was an abandoned junkyard, Bell's magical skill would still work. Sometimes if it was a disadvantage to the landlord, the buildings won't talk, but they've never not shown their face before. Her confused head desperately tried to find possibilities. What's going on? The case of the inexplicably stolen meat. Somehow, the dining room face didn't show. This was strange. She didn't know why. Was this a trial for Shinobu, who always relied too much on her magical skill? Were the detective gods telling her to solve this case without the use of magic? The culprit was probably one of the kids. Was the motivation appetite, or maybe a prank? Detick Bell's confused brain continued to spin. The culprit being a child was just her prediction. There were probably other culprits. That's right, animals. This would be the first time in the history of detective stories where the culprit was an animal. In detective stories, nothing was strange. I think they meant this wouldn't be the first time where the culprit was an animal. In detective stories, nothing was strange. In the mountains here, there were all of the things like bears and wool. Hold on. Mountains here were all of the things like bears and wolves absolutely extinct? Raccoons or foxes? No, that's not it. The window was locked. Then what about rats? Cockroaches? The amount of meat to be taken by small animals was too much. She'd need a number of panic movie classics, and that would have been noticeable too. Maybe it was one of the staff, but why? In order to make fun of Shinobu Hyoka? Detick Bell took out her magnifying glass accessory. If she can't speak to the walls, then she'll find other evidence. She'll find a hiding spot for the meat, she thought before she saw something glowing. It looked like liquid. She rubbed it with her fingertips. It was slimy. She smelled it. It was stinky. Oh god. What the heck is this? Saliva? Drooling. So it was motivated by appetite. Even kids and animals would be. Even adults could drool saliva, so she could still suspect the staff. Okay. Nothing else was noticeable. She'd have to scan the DNA of this saliva. Then she'd be able to find the Shinobu, are you done? Sorry, I'm coming. She didn't have time for that. Detick Bell's brain started to move again. She restricted herself to animals and children. Which one, though? Were there other possibilities? A monster, ghosts, yokai, apparitions? These were unscientific, but magical girls existed. There's no way she could deny the monsters, ghosts, yokai, and apparitions. The building wasn't old, but it gave off an atmosphere of a building that could be haunted from the looks of it. It looked like a giant matchbox, a good stage for a mystery. Even in last night's scare trail, there was a feeling of that when she was threatened. What was that just now? Detick Bell drew up the collar of her cap, roaming around the dining room. She wasn't walking around looking for evidence. She had to find the snag in her head. When her heels stepped on the floor, it made large noises. What happened in the dining room yesterday? A panic. That wasn't right. Before the panic, what happened? What did she do? Originally she was supposed to... Ah! Belle remembered. Belle used her powers to make a face emerge. That face was also something she conversed with her magic. She had to activate it with a kiss. She also had to kiss it to remove it. Yesterday's big panic was because of the dining room wall coming out, but she forgot to remove it. Meaning, when she wanted to kiss the wall to make the face appear, it actually removed it. Of course the face didn't show up. She was a bit tired, but the case hasn't been solved. Belle kissed the wall. Like yesterday, the face showed up. Her own reasoning was correct. I wish I kissed earlier. You look tired. I am tired. Can you just tell me you stole the meat? The face was crazily distorted. It's like it was apologizing and was embarrassed. As far as Detick Bell knew, no buildings have ever made that face. I do know the culprit, yes. From its large mouth it vomited out packed meat. It was covered in slime. Detick Bell was dismayed. Eventually she stood up and closed into the face. What were you doing? I don't know. Suddenly I had the urge to put that meat in my mouth. Fucking hell. Before I knew it, I stretched out my tongue to lick it. It was really mysterious. I've never had this emotion before. I've never wanted to put meat into my mouth before. Make your excuses later. I have to wash these now. She twisted the water faucet and poured water. Fortunately, the pack didn't seem to be torn. Why are you doing what I didn't order you to do? I'm sorry. Still, I didn't think you guys could even eat. We can't eat at all. If we could, then meat wouldn't be safe. At the very least, we can put it in our mouths. Sounds like a trick for a locked room murder. Okay. While still thinking about locked room mysteries, Belle heard a voice from outside. Shinobu, still? Yes, I'm coming. This is what a real detective was like after all, she thought as she washed the meat. While walking in the mountains during the orienteering, she forgot all about the meat she saw earlier. That was the first time she saw that much meat. The other day, the meat that Noriko ate at the barbecue steakhouse her parents took her to was delicious. That was her first barbecue. But this meat should be the same, right? Ah, there. The girl walking by herself pointed at a cedar tree. There was an orange landmark in the trunk. Hurry up and clear it. We want to eat some meat. Gotcha. Well done. The meat's going to be delicious, huh? Noriko was thinking about the meat, and her magical skill made it propagate probably. All of her friends and everyone, they were all having fun at the barbecue. When she saw the meat back then, there was a boy who stretched out his hand to the meat, and a girl who just stared at it. That was probably because of Noriko's influence. But it's going to be good. If you think it'll be delicious, it's definitely going to be delicious. What'd you say? Nothing. Come on, let's go find the staff. So that was a cute little story. I really enjoyed that. Nokko-chan affected the wall, and the wall ate the meat, and I like how it all played in together to where she kissed it the second time was making the face disappear because in the panic she forgot to the night before. That was all really, really cool. I liked all that. And how their powers each came into play and stuff within the little slice of life story. That was probably one of the coolest slice of life stories when it came to, that we've had so far in episodes. That was probably one of the coolest when it came to, like, sort of meshing their powers into the slice of life style of storytelling. So yeah, that was really, really fun. I enjoyed reading. So, like if you did like the video, comment down there. And, tell me what you thought of this episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more. Magical Girl Raising Project, much more on the channel and more. Talked about that a bit at the beginning of what we're doing next, so I'm not going to go over it again. Subscribe, I just said that. Follow on Twitter if you want. I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk with the rest of us there, then just ask and I'll give you one. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.